right, here we go.
Would you throw that chair up on the table here? And Griffin, would you be interested in being our model today? Okay, excellent. Let's just start off by asking, do you know the height of this chair off the top of your head? Yeah, go ahead. Top on the table. Thank you. Go ahead, please.
35 inches?
To right here?
To there.
Yeah, right to the seat. Everybody knows it. 22? No, a little bit less.
20.
A little bit less.
15.
18? Yes, it's 18. Now, if Griffin will sit up nice and straight, keep his legs straight, why do you think that they made this chair 18 inches? Any idea?
Because it's like an average height where the bend of the knee will be comfortable.
Correct. So we have a length from here to the bottom of the knee, and if you move your leg up just a little bit, Griffin. You guys may want to take notes on this because well, maybe you can remember, but if you can see, anybody can see from the side here, you see how that's 18? Okay, so an average height person, obviously this varies from person to person, but we kind of decided for an adult, this is going to be 18 inches. Okay? So that's our first important measurement. And we'll get you some notes. Thank you. Now, anybody have an idea of the depth of the seat? Griffin will kind of scoot himself back here and straighten his legs out here. There we go. Anybody have an idea how?
18 inches.
18 inches, you happen to be correct. So the seat from the back of the knee to here will be about 18 inches. Anybody have an idea how wide this particular chair is?
18 inches.
Yes, that's correct. You see a theme developing here. So we have an 18 by 18 by 18 box that makes up basically a chair in this kind of seated position. Anybody have any idea how high the back would be?
16?
I thought someone was going to say 18.
Is it 18?
No. It can be anywhere from 6 to about, actually it can be infinity, can't it, right? So the lowest it can be is about 6 inches. And the reason is, I'm going to have you stand up for a second. Turn this sideways here. There you go. Can you take another seat back down? Turn with the seat. The reason is that we need, in order to be comfortable, we need to support the base of the spine right back here. And that's about 6 inches up. So Griffin, if you scooch forward just a little bit, if you don't mind me touching your back a minute. If you straighten your back out a little bit, you'll notice when I push on it right here, how his back can stay nice and straight. We tend to slouch a lot, but if I put pressure right about there, I can provide comfort. If I release that, then he starts to sag down, right? So about 6 inches is your minimum, and then you can go up from there. What we don't want to do is we don't want to get too much higher than the top of the shoulders, because if we get about here, then if he tilts his head back, as you relax your head, you've got the top of the chair right at the back of his neck. So there's a certain range we don't want to have. If we continue on, then we can get, if you relax your head, we can get a little bit farther, he can relax his head back onto the top. So the range that we don't want to have it, this is kind of nitpicky, I won't hold you guys to this, but I just want you to know that the next about 28, 29 inches up. So if you've got 28 or 29 inches, you're going to have a situation that, this one's quite nice because it has enough to support the lower back. In fact, this has a little bit of contour to it. So So just so you understand something else, that this chair is designed to go with the surface. We have chairs that aren't designed to go with surfaces, like lounge chairs, side chairs, and other fancy chairs. But this chair and the bar stool, which we're going to talk about in just a minute, are designed to go with surfaces. And just for greater information, anyone have an idea of what the surface is that this chair goes with? How high is that? Also, this is how high this is. 32. That's close. And the guesses?
30 inches.
30 inches.
Feet.
Yeah, 30 inches. So we have an 18-inch seat here, and we have a 30-inch surface. What's the difference between those?
12 inches.
12 inches difference. So the reason that we've established that, and I had a table here I can show you, but if you set up your elbows a minute, you'll notice that it's the base of the elbow, but come up a little bit as if you were sitting it on there. Yeah. That sort of determines where the surface is. Right? So that height, that 12-inch difference between the seat and the surface follows seats and surfaces wherever they go. So does anybody know how high a typical kitchen countertop is? There's a standard. They all should be this height. I'm going to grab something while you're thinking about it. And it is so, a table is at 30. And that's designed for us to sit at the table. And the chairs we sit at the table are designed at 18 inches because of our calf length. But a kitchen countertop is higher so that we can work at it while we're standing. Anybody know what the height is?
60.
That would be about up to here. So it's
40.
it's 36 inches. So we're 30 here. We're 36 to a kitchen countertop. And as you can see, when I stand here, if this was 36, that's a nice working height. What would the height of the chair be then that goes with a 36-inch kitchen countertop?
24.
24 inches. This happens to be a 24-inch chair right here. So that kind of gives you an idea. Okay. So following through with this surface to seat relationship, does anybody know what the height of a bar is? And a bar is designed a lot higher, right? Because it's designed to be used while standing in sort of a similar relationship as a table is. So as I'm standing at the bar, my elbows are about this height. Anybody have an idea? So we got 30 here, 36.
60 or?
No, 60.
42.
It's 42, you're right. So we go up 6 inches here, 36, we go up another 6 inches to 42. So how high would a seat be then for a bar? If you're doing a bar stool?
30 inches.
30 inches, right. That's important, so I've kind of made my way around to this 30-inch high stool. Here it is. So, if this is 30, then how high should this footrest be? Based on what we learned about the calf length here. 18 inches, right? And then how high then is this off the floor? What's left?
12 inches.
12 inches. So, and Griffin, you stand up from here, and I want you to do this. And take that off the table first. Do this here. And have it sit like this, that just you are here. Wait, face. All right, so now he's on a bar stool. So if you go ahead and put your feet up on here, and fully put your butt on there, you will see that this is the same relationship as he had with the floor originally, right? Okay. So these are the important things. So when you do your chairs, they're going to be 18 inches tall. They probably have to be about 18 inches deep, right? Because the length of our thigh here doesn't change. But it could be as wide as you want, and then of course the back could be different heights. We already talked about that. When you do a stool, it's got to be 30 inches tall because the bar is 42. And this has got to be a foot off the ground because we raised the whole thing a foot, right? This is the 18 inches. Same relationship that we established with the chair. Now, something you can do that's kind of cool, if you do a bar stool, you don't have to put a back on it. But if you sat in M&P for a long time, listening to a lecture, you know that your body, you sag down a little bit, your body starts to sag, and your back starts to bend and get, tired in here. So again, if you don't mind me pushing on your back right here, if I put a little bit of pressure here and you straighten out, you can see that we can straighten out his spine, and now you can sit for a much longer time. And you can do that with just a little bit of support in the back. Okay. All right, cool. Any questions so far? All right, go ahead and jump off of that there. I got one more chair now to show you guys. And it's right behind Troja there, so I'm grabbing that. You all right, Griffin? Yeah, thank you for being here. Okay, now, I'm going to talk to be paired with the surface, we can kind of do almost anything we want, right? Now we're just supporting the body. We can put it up high, we can put it down low. We can raise the floor up or lower the seat down, and we can make it into a chaise, right? Because we support the legs now. There's a lot we can do. So you have a lot of freedom when it comes to the lounge chair. But I want you to understand a little bit about some of the geometry that's happening. When we look at a stool or a dining chair, we're generally looking at a flat surface. And the reason for that is we want to both be able to lean forward and eat our food, and we want to be able to relax and have a conversation with people. But when you're in a lounge chair, leaning forward isn't part of the scenario. So we can start to tilt this back and allow weight to get onto the back, and it gets more and more relaxed. So this particular chair is probably a side chair. Well, these are terminologies, but it has a 1-inch slope and it has a 17-inch front edge. So as you can see, it's fairly similar to the dining chair. It's dropped an inch down here, and then it's dropped an additional inch down in the back. So it's starting to relax a little bit, but it's still pretty, serious. If I take and I slide this on you, put your feet back down. So in effect, what I just did is I lowered the chair, right, by raising the floor. I raised the floor by 2 inches. So now the front of the chair is 15, and the back of the chair is 14. So this didn't change the angle in the chair, but what it did change is his ability to allow his legs to kind of have a more relaxed relationship with the floor, right? Because if this is a full 18, basically all you can do is have your legs hang straight down. And but now you can kind of put your feet out in front of you. You can crouch your legs. You can have a more relaxed relationship with the floor. And the lower the chair goes, the farther out your legs can stay. Okay. So now, if you stand up again, we're going to do something else, and I'm going to tilt the chair back. And I want Griffin to feel the difference here. We're also going to slide this back. Okay, there you go. So of course now, you feel the difference on your torso. It's more relaxed. Of course, now we raise this way too high, and his feet are almost dangling off there because now this is 19. That's too high. You can't do anything with his legs in terms of straightening them out. Maybe a little bit if you slouch, but if you sit up straight, you'll see that his legs can't go very far. So let's bring the floor back up. There you go. Go ahead. Get on there. So now the front of our chair is back to 17. The back is at 14 now. We tip it quite a bit. And if we add more floor, let me see if I can get another chunk of something. More floor. Let's see, now we're at 50. And you can feel it's starting to get more and more relaxed. So there's, I kind of fell in love with this kind of classic mid-century lounge chair, and I'll tell you exactly the dimensions in terms of how high it is in the front and how far it drops. This is a really great departure point if you're starting to think about a lounge. Of course, you can tip it back even further. You can bring it forward. You can bring it down. There's lots of things you can do. You could eventually you'll want to bring the back up to support the head, because if I keep bringing this back, eventually Griffin's going to be strained to keep his neck up. And that's when we want to support the whole top of the body and the head. But here's a really great set of measurements. 15 to the front. Got a 3-inch drop, so 12 in the back. Your arms, by the way, are also in a specific place, and you can see the way he's got his arms there. This is about 7 to 9 inches for the arms. I think you guys have to have arms on yours, don't you? I think so, yeah. So how do we determine that? Well, if you see, where your leg bends and where your arm is, this happens to be about 7 to 9 inches. And you can make this a lot higher, right, if you wanted to, but then we start to push your shoulder up. If it's a lot lower, the arm doesn't do anything. So 7 to 9 inches is kind of ideal. So that's kind of a side view. In terms of other dimensions, you want to have at least 20 inches between your arms, because now you're putting people in between these two sides, and we have wider people and thinner people, and so we want to accommodate most people, so 20 is like the absolute minimum. Wider is probably smarter. Yeah, Schroeder?
Is that 20 to the middle or to the inside edge?
Well, if I were to measure from this point to this point, so basically the clearance in between.
Okay.
Yeah. Just so happens that the seat works well if it's also 20. So a 20 by 20 seat works good for a lounge chair. Those are minimum sizes, although you can't go too much deeper than 20 because what happens is, let's say we extend this, all of a sudden, if you sit back farther too, all of a sudden, you know how kids are when they sit in a chair that's too big for them, his legs are gonna stick out. So generally 20 is about the deepest you wanna have, otherwise you're gonna catch the back of the knee. And then the back also works well at about 20. So here you have another theme of about 20 inches that works really well. 20 width, 20 depth, 20 in terms of the back. Yeah. And then the height is variable because we're not tied to surface. All right. Get any questions? I'm ready to kind of move forward from here. So let's quickly talk about how we're going to make this jump to quarter scale. So quarter scale is 1/4 the size. So if this is 18 inches tall, how high are your seats going to be in your model? 18 divided by 4. Go up, yeah.
4.5 inches.
4.5. Depth?
4.5 inches.
4.5. Width?
4.5.
4.5 or infinity, right? We don't care. And so 4.5 block is kind of what we're looking at there. When we go over here, we talk about a 20 by 20 by 20 situation. So what kind of measurements are we talking here?
5 by 5 by 5.
5. This is going to be 5. And when we get back to the stool, where did I put the stool? Here it is. This is 30 inches tall, so 30 divided by
It'll be 7.5 inches tall.
7.5. So those are kind of good to kind of get in your mind, and I've got some actual examples across the hall so you can see them in scale. So once you can see it, hopefully you'll be able to remember, but also check. Okay, great. If you don't have any questions, everybody got the notes? Everybody know where you're headed?
Yep.
Sweet, okay. Let's go across the hall and I'm gonna talk to you about the materials.
Should we bring something right with?
No, you won't need that.